Hey, Yinz guys and gals, gather round for a journey like no other. It's time to hop on board the Where Yinz Goin podcast, proudly brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. From the rivers that meet at the point to form downtown Pittsburgh to the furthest corners of the globe, Matt will be your compass, your confidant, your companion in that as we explore the wonders of travel. Kick back, relax on your couch, and let the wanderlust wash over you as we discover new horizons and reminisce about old favorites. With Dreams by Design Travel by our side, the sky's the limit. Join Matt on the Where Yinz Goin podcast because when it comes to travel, the journey's just getting started. And now, without further ado, let's give a shout for your guide through the highways and byways of travel, the man with a map, the voice of the steel city, Matt Trader.
How Yinz doing? Welcome to the Where Yinz Goin podcast, brought to you by Dreams by Design Travel. I'm Matt, I'm your host, and with us this week is Donna, who is the founder and owner of Dreams by Design Travel. Welcome, Donna. How are you today?
I am doing great, Matt. Thanks for the intro. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for asking me to talk about Virgin Voyages. It's probably my favorite, maybe a little more than Disney cruise line.
So it's 1 and 1A.
Yeah, kind of.
Worst
Yeah.
case.
I mean, they're two different types of cruise lines, but I just really enjoy the adult only aspect of it. But I do love Disney too, so I can't not do Disney because that's where my heart is. But I do enjoy the relaxation on the Virgin Voyages.
That'll be something I give in a travel tip, probably in a future episode. But knowing the type of vacation that you want.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want that adult only, so that's the
Yes.
perfect one for you. Sometimes you want more of the Disney atmosphere, so that's more what you want. And it goes for any trip of, okay, do you want to go have great food on
Very
this?
true. And it's the same way with all inclusive. Like you have sandals for the adults and you have beaches or other family oriented all inclusive, and it just works the same, only this is on the sea, on the ocean. But it's definitely a clientele that you would want to qualify before you offer it. But I cannot recommend it high enough. I just did my third one, so I'm a fan, definitely a fan.
As we were just talking, I have a little 4-year-old, so unless we can get some babysitter for a week or so, we're not going to go on a Virgin cruise anytime soon. But just from reading about it and hearing about it, it is fabulous.
It really, really is. It's unlike any other cruise line out there. So much is included that I literally had at the end of my cruise, $33 go on my charge card. And that was just because we went over the $300 bar tab between 3 adults. So like we literally the last night we're trying to spend all of our sailor loot that we had for onboard credit. So you can't really go wrong. I mean, especially when you rebook. If you're on one and you rebook before you get off the ship, the deals are just, I've never seen anything like 80% off the second they call them sailors. Like we're used to saying traveler, but for Virgin, you're a sailor. So a second sailor would get 80% off. And the onboard credit, if you would put a date on it within 60 days, is $600. So you can get quite a bit of, they don't call it merchandise, they call it sailor loot. You know, you can get quite a bit of, with your sailor loot, you can get quite a bit of souvenirs. So there's just even a tattoo parlor, like there's so much there.
And just from that short little bit, you can hear how much Donna knows about everything. And, she's been in the business for, over 20 years, but she's amazing, only 22 years old. So, she started young.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I wish.
she's also a wonderful boss who really likes to give raises, especially when she's on someone's podcast. So,
Well,
but
I love first of all, I love the name of this podcast because we're local Pittsburgh people. You're sort of Pittsburgh people. So anyone that knows our area knows that Yinz is our lingo for you guys or whatever. Like it's just we're Yinzers. So that's why I think this is a clever name of a podcast.
Yinz is our version of y'all. So
yeah, y'all. Yep. And you guys or whatever. Yeah, y'all. That's true. I never thought of it that way.
I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, so
Yeah.
Grew up with it a lot. So before we get too much more into Virgin, Donna, what is your favorite place that you've ever visited? Or is there a place out there that is number one on your list of here's where I still need to go?
Mm. Oh man, favorite place. This is gonna sound, not off topic, but I don't mean to be off topic, but Disneyland is my favorite place. Disneyland in California is definitely my favorite place, but I do want to go to Italy sometime. And I don't know if, I don't know if I'll get there, but I would like just to go to Europe and just go around to the different countries in Europe, maybe Germany. I'd love to go to Greece. And getting back to the topic, I'm thinking of booking a Virgin cruise out of Barcelona. So that might be my next one. Still talking, looking at the itineraries, but that would be a kind of a bucket list too, getting across the pond, so to speak, and still be on a Virgin ship. So hopefully that will happen.
Yeah, my sister and brother-in-law are on a cruise right now going through Italy and
Oh,
the Mediterranean. Um, they're on another 18 plus cruise line we won't mention here, although they'll be on another podcast in the future to discuss their experience. So
yeah, that sounds great. And it has to be a longer one. It can't be like a 4 or 5 night, I would say at least 6 nights to go over there to go that far. The prices are more reasonable than I thought. It's the airfare that can be high, but if you book with a Dreams by Design travel advisor, they can help you with looking at the best prices. We don't really book the air, but we can definitely recommend airlines and look into the pricing if you're booking the cruise with us.
and even just other travel. Did yesterday I was just looking up some flights to Egypt for
Yeah.
person. He's from Egypt. He's going home to see his family, but then he also wants to go to Denmark and Sweden, and
Yeah.
he's like, I've always wanted to go to Scandinavia, and since I'm over there, so I looked up a whole big itinerary for him. I'm waiting to hear back to see exactly where he wants to go in those countries before I look at hotels and a few
Yeah,
other
good,
things for him.
good idea. Good idea.
So, but as we mentioned, today's topic is Virgin Voyages, which, as Donna mentioned, is an adults only cruise line. So everyone on board is at least 18 years old. And it's basically, as Donna said, the cruise equivalent of an all inclusive that pretty much everything is included in the price that you're going to pay. So,
Mhm.
with that, the price is often a little bit higher than what you get on or what other cruise lines are going to offer, but there's a big difference between price and value, which I'll
Right.
go into a little bit more with my travel tip later on. But price is what are you paying, and value is what are you getting for what you're paying.
Right. I think it depends. When you compare the pricing, Virgin is per cabin. So it may look higher, but if you divide it by two or however many adults you have, it's not that bad. It's really not high. And even when I looked at Barcelona, it was only about $1,000 more than the Caribbean. I didn't think that was bad at all for what you're getting, the different excursions available, all those different ports over there. But I thought that the price per room, it just makes it look more appealing to me. Um, and I think that's different because most cruise lines just do it per person. And it makes it look like, oh, that's so much lower. But then you have to add the people together. You know what I mean? Like, I think the price versus value, when you talk about having Wi-Fi included, all of your dining and all of the dining rooms on Virgin are all specialty. There's no buffets. So you're getting all specialty dining included in the price. Gratuities are included. Who does that? Hardly anybody would do that. Um, and so you're not getting nickel and dimed while on board. And I think that's where the true value lies in a Virgin cruise. Like I said, I only had $33 go on my card. I didn't have to worry about tips on that last night, like you typically do on a cruise and handing out your tips. They are paid. Richard Branson has a totally different concept. He pays those employees up front enough that you're getting as good a service as you would if you were tipping them. It's no different just because you're not handing them an envelope at the end of the cruise. So the value is in the inclusive items. It truly is an all-inclusive. They don't even accept tips, but I know that the room steward that we had, our neighbors were giving them a tip because they were asking for some out of the ordinary things. And so they did give a little bit more of tip money. But other than that, most of them, I don't even think take tips. I don't know about the beauty shop. I've never gone into the beauty salon or the haircut place. I'm not sure if they accept tips or not. Or the tattoo parlor. I mean, who has a tattoo parlor on board? I mean, I'm not personally into tattoos, but a lot of people are,
Yeah, and just some of the things you were mentioning, it's over $1,000 of these perks that are included on every cruise.
Yeah.
And just reiterating a few that you said, the dining, soft drinks and water, gratuities, the Wi-Fi, group fitness, entertainment,
Yeah.
and as you mentioned before, the free bar tab that can be included on there, and some of the specials they'll have can give you an extra free bar tab, which is really nice, which can be a couple $100. I think it was up to 300 for one of the specials earlier this year.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
also,
that's what we had. We had the 300 and, we had 3 adults. So we were just ordering drinks. Like when we wanted to order a drink, we didn't care. And the drinks are reasonably priced. People think, oh, it's 300, but they're probably like $20 drinks. No, they're not. Like a beer would be like $7 to $9, depending on the beer. The mixed drinks were like 10 maybe. So, I mean, that's not really bad when you're considering you can get that. You can go to your local pub or whatever, and if you're buying a specialty beer, it's going to be expensive. So I thought those were reasonable, and that was one of the things that they pointed out in our training, that they were normal priced drinks. And with with pop, well, we call it pop, but some people call it soda. But if with pop included, and your orange juice, all that's included. The only extra beverage that you would pay for would be like a specialty coffee, and they make the lattes and things like that, and you can get that in the specialty coffee shop, and they're even maybe $4 or $5 each, so that's not really bad either. So even the room service, which I never took advantage of, but the room service, there is a charge for it, but if you order a specialty coffee, the room service is included. So you're really only paying that $4 to $5 for your coffee, and they'll bring the little sack filled to the top with all your dishes, and everything's in there, all covered up with your little plastic. It's reusable. Everything on there on Virgin is reusable. You can't even buy a bottle of water. They encourage you to bring a water bottle with you, a reusable water bottle. So all of these things that come in your room service, little, I guess it's like a pouch because it has a drawstring, all that comes to your door, and it's all, you just put it out when you're done and they take it away, and it's all reusable. So they're really, Richard Branson, he's on the edge of everything. Like, he knows what he's doing. I've never met the man, but it would be really cool to kind of see him on board sometime. But those sell out very quick, those cruises.
yeah. A few other nice things with Virgin is that you can change your voyage dates up to 48 days before you sail. As they say, sometimes ship happens.
Yeah.
So I want to say ship.
Yeah, with a P. They have a lot of play on words, and you kind of just get used to it. At first, I thought, oh, this is so clever, but then you just kind of get used to that's how Virgin is. Everything's on play on words.
Yeah, and also you can change names up to 48 hours before sail.
Yeah.
So if you have a cruise coming up, and okay, you're going to go with your best friend, but all of a sudden, something happens, they can't come, you can swap in your other best friend. So
Yeah, that's really unusual too. There's no extra fee for that like other cruise lines do. A lot of them, when you have a lead guest, they absolutely will not change. You have to cancel and rebook, but it's not like that with Virgin. So that's just, it's an ease of booking. Their website can be a little testy, so there is some frustration for when we're working on that site. They're still, I guess, working on it, but I've booked a few of these, and they still have some bubbles to work out with the website. But once you get there and you get on board, everything works very well on their app. Everything is done on the app. And their Wi-Fi is really good. And, like I said, it's included. You can upgrade to a premium version, which will allow streaming. I've done that. I probably didn't really have to. I did it mostly for my son if he was, wanted to watch videos or whatever. But the Wi-Fi is the best I've ever had on a cruise, ever. And it's just like your high speed at home. Like that's how good it is. There's never any lagging. You can go live on Facebook if you wanted to. That's how good it is.
That's great. I mean, because of course everything's for the Instagram and the social media now. So that's
Right.
actually a very smart idea by
Yeah.
Virgin is to have good Wi-Fi because people will then post the pics and it's free publicity.
Right, right. On my very first one, I did a lot of social media, and that's how I got other people to book. Was they were like, well, give me a quote on that. I want to do it. And that's how I've got people to book, because they saw how much fun it was and the pool parties, and there's just always something going on with Virgin on their ships. So once they saw all the fun and the ocean and with beautiful weather, of course, um yeah, that's how they were like, well, give me a quote. And that's how I got people to book. And I think that happens not just with Virgin, but anytime you're active on social media on your vacations, never fails. Before the end of the trip, we're booking people because they want to experience what we're showing them. So social media is really really helpful that way. And people are like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out, they have FOMO. So then they want to book it and go on their own trip.
Yeah. And what you said before with the website being a little bit finicky and tough to get around, more reason to use a travel advisor to help book it for you.
Yeah. That's exactly right. There's been times I kind of use both the consumer and the travel agent site to make sure that I'm getting everything's matching up. And I just because the travel agent site is a little more finicky than the consumer. So we want to make sure they're getting the best possible price, the best possible promotions have been applied. So we kind of double check our work to make sure everything's jiving on that.
So Virgin has 3 ships now with a 4th one on the way. Scarlet Lady, the Vibrant Lady, and the Resilient Lady are there now, and then Brilliant Lady's coming.
Oh,
The
actually, it's Valiant Lady.
Valiant, oh, I have a typo. Yeah.
But you know what? When I saw your name, I'm like, why didn't they use Vibrant Lady? That is that is better than Valiant Lady. Why didn't they use Vibrant Lady? They need one of their ships to be vibrant, because that's just Virgin. That's just how everything's vibrant. You know what I mean? That would have been the perfect name for a ship. I can't believe they didn't come up with that. So I like yours better.
But Scarlet Lady was the first ship in the fleet, and it was built in 2020. So you're looking at virtually brand new ships in this entire fleet. So
They are. They really are.
State of the art.
State of the art everything. One of the unique things about Virgin that I've never seen on any cruise line is all of their ships are identical. So if you sailed Scarlet and you go into Valiant like I did, everything is identical, the same. All the dining rooms, all of the public areas like the bars, the outdoor seating areas, everything is identical. So you're automatically familiar. When I first got on Valiant, because I've done Scarlet twice and Valiant was my third one, it took me probably half an hour to get acclimated to where everything was again. You just automatically know where everything is, and every day you don't have to start all over. Because what happens on a cruise is, if you don't do a real long cruise, by the time you get familiar with the ship, the cruise is over. But when you sail with Virgin, if your first time, it does take a little bit to get like, oh, here's where everything is, but they're not gigantic mega ships. So it doesn't take long. So when you're on your second cruise, you just feel at home. You just feel like everything is exactly where you remember it. The elevators are quick. They're very much available all the time. The pools are in the same area. So that's one of the things I really liked about it. Just the name is different. That's really all it is. And they still have Scarlet Night, even though on Valiant, it's not Scarlet. It's not the Scarlet Lady. It's Valiant Lady, but they still have Scarlet Night. So everybody dresses in red. It's a big deal on these ships when they have Scarlet Night. So they still do have the same shows. Pretty much everything is identical.
And I wore my red shirt just in honor of that too. So
Yeah, see?
the one slight difference is that the Brilliant Lady that's coming, it will be slightly slimmer than the other three, but that's because it will be small enough to go through the Panama Canal. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be one of the big things coming up with its new itineraries.
Yeah, and I do like
But
also that they don't hold, like you'll see Royal will be like 5,000, 6,000 people. You're only talking a couple thousand people, I forget the maximum on them, but you're only talking a fraction of the big mega ships that look like a floating city, that you're not getting that on. So you never really feel like you are crowded. Like the first time that I went on, there was only 700 people on my cruise. But you can tell now that the Virgin has caught on. There are people finding, they're talking about these ships, the commercials and everything that and the agents are promoting. So they're a little bit more full, but still, you don't feel like you're always stepping, the next person right next is right next to you all the time. The dining rooms, they recommend the reservations, but that's very easily done on the app. And they're very easy to get. So even when you get on board, if you didn't get what you wanted on the app, you can go right down to Razzle Dazzle, which is one of the dining rooms, and pick up your dining reservation that you didn't get.
and the Virgin Voyages cruise ships hold a maximum of 2,770 passengers.
I was just going to say 2,800. I can't believe you said that because I wasn't sure of the number, so I didn't want to say it for sure, but I thought I remembered it being 2,800. So yeah, that's pretty much right where it is. See, that's nothing really,
And this is why Donna is the greatest, because she just knows those numbers off the top of her head. And I had to Google it. So
Yeah, I
um,
was going to say it, but I thought, oh, if I'm wrong, I don't want to be wrong. But I thought I remembered them saying that before in one of the trainings.
yeah. And you just mentioned about going to all the different destinations that in the Caribbean or Caribbean, however you want to pronounce it, there are about 20 locations, different ports that they'll stop at. In throughout Europe, there are 40 plus locations. I think I counted 43
Wow.
through the Mediterranean, the Adriatic, Northern Europe, and coming soon with Brilliant Lady in 2025. They'll start in New York. They'll go down the coast. They'll go through the Panama Canal, stopping in Los Angeles, Seattle, and then having some itineraries up to Alaska.
Yeah, that's all new. We just were able to start booking those today, as a matter of fact. And I haven't really looked at the pricing on them, but I think they're going to sell out, especially Alaska. It would be very different to go on a Virgin ship to be in a cold climate. Like I'm used to being out in the sun and everything, but Alaska is a bucket list. That's another thing that I really would like to do is Alaska. And most of all cruise lines, and that's why Virgin got involved, they must all go to Alaska. So Virgin wanted a part of that to, get their sailors up to Alaska and experience how, beautiful that is. And then you can, go to the Northwest Territory up in the corner of the country there and experience a little bit of that. That's another place that I love to go to because my son lives up there.
I have a couple that's going on their 20th wedding anniversary on an Alaskan cruise, and then also spending some time in Alaska
Oh.
at the end of May and early June. So, and my dad was just up there last August for 2 weeks doing a fishing trip. So,
Escape the heat of summer, huh? Get up to
yeah,
Alaska and it's always, 60, 70 degrees and, all that beautiful scenery. I know that if I did book that, my whole family would probably want to do that because we've never been there.
that's like you said, one I want to see Alaska, and cruising Alaska, I think would be a really nice way to.
Mhm.
It's such a big state to see a decent amount of, or to see a bigger amount without having to pack and repack every day.
Right, yeah. You have to dress warm, dress in layers. I mean, it's a totally different packing that you would have on that than you would have in the Caribbean. A little bit heavier. You might go over your weight limit on the airlines, but it would be worth it. Just you don't even have to really dress up on Virgin, which is nice. A lot of them have a lot of cruise lines have dressy nights, a couple dressy nights on the cruise. With Virgin, but like what you're wearing right there, that the shirt that you have on, like a red polo or whatever, you could wear that in the dining room on Virgin. And you're never underdressed. Now people don't wear bathing suits, of course, into a dining room. And you'll have most people will wear shorts or khaki pants or whatever. But in Alaska, I imagine you'd probably they probably have to have the heat on in the dining rooms. Like you have the air conditioning. in the Caribbean. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
depending how
excited
far
about
up.
going again.
So, but speaking of that, on your trip that you went recently, you were on the Valiant Lady. You went the Western Caribbean Charm route. They also give
Yeah,
names to
yeah.
all their um
Well, my first one was what was my first one? It was, I think, the Caribbean, Miami to Playa del Carmen. That was my first one. Um, and then my second one was, and I think that was 2022. Then my second one was the Dominican Days. And we had a good time. We liked the Dominican Republic. We liked where they put a we stayed in the front area there with near the dock, but we really liked it there. We kind of did our own excursion there. We didn't book anything on the ship. We just saw where it said Monkey Island, and we were all like, "Oh my gosh, we get to see the monkeys!" So we went to Monkey Island, and we got to. They were jumping on our head, jumping on our back. It was very reasonable. It was only $30 a person, so we kind of made our own excursion on that one. And on that particular sailing, I upgraded to Mega Rockstar quarters. Um, One of the things these cruise lines do is what you book, maybe when you get within 6 months or so of your voyage, you will get an email about bidding on an upgrade. And there's a little slide bar on the website, and you can move up your bid to where you want to pay, what you're willing to pay, because if you get it, it just charges your charge card and you got it. It'll tell you your chances of getting it. So I raised it up a little bit to the fair area where it said fair, and wouldn't you know, I got it. So all of our last year, all of our alcohol for the entire cruise was included. We had a stocked in-room bar. We had a turntable in our room with albums. Any album we wanted, our Rockstar agent would get for us. And you can even, like, we were at the casino one night, and I just bought the whole blackjack table drinks. Like, you can do that. Like, you get your own Rockstar agent. He did all of our dining. And there's a special area on Bimini for Rockstar sailors. So we had that exclusively. It was just really cool to be treated like literally like a VIP. Like that, we had our own, we got the board before anybody else. So that was really fun. Now, I did get the email again on this last cruise, but I left it at the minimum, and it said your chances are poor. Well, I didn't get it. So, but that was okay. I just did it on a whim. I thought, oh, kind of like that. It was kind of fun to do that. If I don't get it, no big deal. So we didn't, but that's okay, because we did have the $300 bar tab, and the sailor loot was $600 to spend on board. So we still had quite a bit to go through. And we really did it. We all got souvenirs. I bought some nice sunglasses, which I don't know. I for some reason, I like nice sunglasses, and just not the cheapo ones. And I found some really nice ones, and they have a sunglass store, and all their stores are higher end. But the Virgin souvenirs, the branded ones, are all pretty reasonably priced, and they have a little store there where you can buy things. So the rest of them are all pretty high end. In the spa, I was going to use it in the spa, but I decided not to. So yeah, that's so my chances were slim on getting it with the poor rating. But our room this time was the XLC terrace, which is the terrace with the balcony. Our one on the Rockstar one was huge, and it had the long beds, and you get the hammock, because they have these handmade hammocks that you can actually purchase if you wanted to. So this time we were regular XLC terrace, and we still had the balcony, but just not as big. And we had regular sit-down chairs instead of the loungers, and we also had the red hammock. And we pulled in next to a Disney ship, and they were blowing their horn, and they were pointing at our hammocks, and we were small compared to the Disney ship, but that's okay. Like they were having fun. They had all their slides and everything, and you don't have those on a Virgin ship. It's more like the regular pool, with the pool beds surrounding the pool.
although we'll get to a little bit later on, but Virgin does have a lot of other things that you'll get on that a Disney cruise or other cruises will not necessarily have. with the amenities of fitness equipment and the entertainment, things along
Right.
those lines.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And,
But
and the cabins that we had, I've never, they do have the inside cabins, and they run perpendicular to the other cabins. They're like in the middle. And then we had what's called a bump out, and it's a bigger cabin. It's still an XL, but it's just a bigger one. And they also have the regular sea terrace. They're not as big, and they have a window, and you can't, like, there's no balcony. And those are of course less money, but once you get that balcony and you sit in that hammock, you will never want to book without that again. I can definitely say that.
yeah, the insiders, just giving a rough idea of size. And these are not exact numbers, just so it's easier to remember. But they're about 100 square feet to 175, although some of those are solo cabins too. So
Right.
those actually look really neat, the solo cabins. Um,
And they don't have a single supplement on Virgin, so you're not paying like triple the price just because you're sailing alone. And there's so many people you can meet on the cruise. Everybody's so outgoing and they're adventurous. Sailing solo on Virgin is not as bad as it sounds. You know what I mean? If you're sailing Virgin, you're outgoing as it is, and you're going to meet at people anyways. So you might as well go and meet people and make friends, and there'll be other solo people, and they have get-togethers and things like that.
yeah, I have a friend who has been lamenting for a while. Oh, I want to go on this trip, but no one wants to come with me. I'm just gonna just go. You'll meet people there and yourself. Just go.
Mhm.
So I've done solo travel myself, before I got married, and it's fun. You don't have to worry about just where do you want to go today? Oh, well, I want to go here, so therefore I'm going to do it. I don't have to worry about compromise with anyone else.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true.
As you mentioned before, there's the Sea View that have the portal. They're roughly 130 to 190 square feet. Sea Terrace jumps around 185 to about 225, and those are the ones with the balconies and the red hammocks. Then you jump up to the Rockstar quarters, which you mentioned a few of the. Yours was a mega Rockstar.
Yeah,
So
last
Rockstar.
year. Yeah, last year was. Yeah.
Neat thing about the Rockstar is that you get access to Richard's rooftop, which is like a private
Yes.
little lounge area.
It's big. It's kind of big up there. I was surprised, and there was really nobody there. Um, there's just all these little alcoves, like, of people just relaxing. There's different music up there. There's hot tubs. Like, it's just really, really nice. Now some of the larger mega, the what's it called? The massive suite. I think they have their own hot tub and large accommodating table. Like, you could have a lot of people up. You could have a party on this balcony. It is absolutely huge. Um, and my one agent, she gets the cheeky corner suite, and it's really, the room's extra big. So she always gets that. So that's Stephanie. She likes to get that cheeky corner suite. Those go pretty fast because they're larger. But there's something for everybody. There's really something. We were 3 people in an XL, and it's a little bit bigger than the regular sea terrace. And, it's a little tight, a little bit. The bathroom's pretty large. The shower is nice. It's an overhead rainfall shower. Um, it's a little bit, there's no doors shutting off the sink area, but there's doors to the toilet and the shower. So I think, when you have 2 adults, people don't care. You're just there, in there with your husband or your wife. My son goes with us on these trips usually. But he's usually sleeping by the time everybody's getting dressed or whatever. So there's nothing to worry about there. They'll make the bed up for him. It's a couch, and when he's not in it, and it's just it's a bed at night. So you always feel like, you're not bumping into things as you're walking around. And our bed was near the sliding glass door, so you could just hear the ocean. I mean, it was just like heaven.
That's the other really neat thing about their cabins is that they can be configured to different, they have different configurations. I guess easiest way to say is that the
Yes.
beds, it will. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this for someone who can't see it. Is it's like a couch, but then the couch can swing out to be
Yeah.
the bed. So it's like a different type of couch bed. But you can
Yeah.
have 2 people have little single beds of like kind of an L shape, or you can swing them both together to have double bed. So
Yeah.
it's really neat how you can whether
Yeah,
you're
you'd never
just
know when you walk in, you would never know that this is how it's going to be at nighttime. The seat on the couch flipped, and then it became a bed. My husband or my son said it's a little bit hard, but it's okay. You know, it's a little bit firm, but it's a new ship. You know,
Mhm.
that'll change as it gets older. Another thing that I really like about the cabins that I've not seen like on Disney or anything is there's a little it's sort of like a panel by the door. And when you leave the room, you hit that. And outside of your room, there's the same panel, and it'll light up blue that you're ready to have the room made up. So when you want to not be disturbed, you hit the panel and turn it red. And then the red will be out on the outside, and they know that we're not going to bother those people right now. Same thing for room service. When you want room service, you hit the little drink and it'll indicate on the outside that you want the room service. So it's really neat how everything is just really state of the art. You know, you walk down the hall and you can see all the reds and the blues, and you know that your room steward knows exactly what. And she was there all the time. She had we maybe saw her twice. She was making up the things when we wanted it made up. If my son was sleeping in, it was red, and I told my son, change it to blue when you come up for breakfast, and that's what he did. So we would come back and the room would be all made up. It was perfect.
It's a big step up from the little do not disturb things you hang on the outside of your door in hotel rooms.
A huge step. Yeah, that's true.
So, but with the Rockstar quarters, they have some really neat name. One is the Seriously Suite, the
Yeah.
Brilliant Suite, the Sweet Aft Suite. So,
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
say
they
that
are.
fast, you get it. And then, as you mentioned before, the Cheeky Corner Suite.
Yeah. Ours was the gorgeous suite. That's the one we had.
Okay, and that's down with the Mega Rockstar quarters
Yeah.
that gave it bigger with the Gorgeous Suite, the Posh
Yeah.
Suite, the Fab Suite, and then you said the Massive Suite, which so going back to the smallest one of the Seriously Suite, it's about 350 square feet, and then up to the Cheeky Corner Suite can be all about 850, and then with the Mega Rockstar quarters, the Gorgeous Suite is 570, going up to the Massive Suite, which is over 2,000 square feet, which is bigger than my house.
Yeah,
So,
it's huge. It's absolutely huge. The couch is like a big horseshoe. Like it's huge. Like you'd have to have uh, I'd want to have more than, you know, two people in that if you're gonna. I mean, it's expensive. You know, you're paying for that, but you know, you're getting a lot for it. And you know, I just think that it would be too much for just the three of us, but I would do it if it was available and it was you know, affordable. I would still do it just to have the experience. And I think does that come with a guitar, or am I just thinking of hard rock? I know
uh,
we got the turntable, but I thought you actually got a stage, like a little stage. I might be thinking of something else.
yeah, I know it. Hard Rock in Universal, and I guess the other Hard
Yeah.
Rock ones you can rent guitars.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought this did, but I can't remember if, and there aren't that many of these big suites. So, and they're in one section of like our mega suite was literally you walk out of the pool area and there was a door to get you out of there. And then you walk into another door and there was our room. So it got a little bit loud on Scarlet Night. Like we could hear, you know, you would hear the vibration of the music, but you expect that on Virgin. The music's going to be loud. If you love music and dancing, and just a really good time, it's definitely the cruise line for that. There's no stuffiness at all. And one thing that will surprise people, the average age of the Virgin guest is like 45. So there's really no 20s, some 30s, but mostly 40s to about 80. Like there were a lot of older people on all of my Virgin cruises. One lady had a walker. So there really is no age limit. You're not going to feel out of place there. The only reason the age group starts in the 30s is that's usually the people that are starting to make money. So they can afford cruises. It's not like Carnival where you're going to get 18, 21. Like, you know, we never once, not one single time on any of my cruises saw anybody that was drunk or anything like that. You would think with the alcohol allowance and the rock stars having it included, that you would think people would be overdoing it because there's so many bars and little lounges, but that's not how it is. So it's a party ship, but it's not a carnival. I'm not a big fan of carnival, but it's not like, I hate to compare cruise lines, but it's not the carnival type of party. You know what I mean? So that is why once we did it, we love the whole atmosphere of a party atmosphere, but not out of hand. So that's important to say, because people think, oh, everybody's drinking. No, it's not like that at all. You know, by the pool, people are having drinks. You know, you don't have to tip. All your tips are included, even with your pool side drinks. All those tips are included. So even those gratuities, you don't have to worry about, signing. You don't sign anything. All they do is scan your band.
And just comparing different parties, it's, the adult New Year's Eve cocktail party versus the Friday night frat
Exactly.
boy party on campus.
Exactly. Yeah.
Both are parties. There's alcohol involved, but very
Yeah.
different vibe to them.
Yeah. It's definitely the age group makes a big difference, I think. Everybody's there to have a good time. They're very inclusive of all people. That's another thing that I really like about it. Anybody will feel comfortable. They're LGBTQ friendly. Anybody, married couples, single people, they're all, you will feel comfortable no matter what. You have to have sort of an open mind. You're going to see some skimpy bathing suits, things like that. But I don't know. It doesn't bother me. But if that kind of thing bothers people, that's why qualifying your client is like a good idea of what they're looking for in a cruise. Because it's a little edgy. It's a little edgy, but I take my adult son, so it can't be that edgy.
Just finishing off on a few of the Rockstar amenities that you get is, as you mentioned, the 24/7 agent attention. You have the bottomless in-room bar and complimentary parking at Port Miami's Terminal 5.
Yeah.
So, and also the peekaboo shower. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, there's a way around that too. I was worried about that because the window is rather large into the shower that opens up into the bedroom. So I thought, how am I going to get a shower? Because I'm the only girl. How am I going to get a shower with my son on the other side of the window? So they came up with a large window shape, the same shape as the window, like a big gigantic oval, and it has little suction cups on it. And you put that right on the inside of the shower, you put that right on your window, and that completely closes off the room from the shower. Because the shower on the Rockstar suites, they're huge. They're like a little room. Like you could, if you wanted to, you could probably put 6 people in there. Like they're really big. So that's what we put on the window the whole time we were there. Once I saw that, I was comfortable and I knew everything would be okay. Because I had heard about it, but I didn't think I would get the bid. But then once I did, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do for the window?
yeah, and you had mentioned before the Virgin charges by the cabin, not per person. And some of these cabins can have up to 4 people stay in them. So when you look at that and you're dividing, if you can get 4 people to go with you to divide the price 4 ways, it really makes it a lot more affordable.
Right. Right. That's what I tell people, like, let us quote it for you, because you will be surprised. Even if you compared to another cruise line, you're getting a smaller ship, you're getting a fraction of the people of the larger ships. But it never seems crowded, even though it's a smaller ship, it just never, there's so many areas to scatter into. Everybody has their favorites. We like the dock house. It's in the back. It's in the back of the ship. It opened when you look over the edge, you're looking at the water just going behind you. It's just beautiful. There's no buffets on Virgin. It's very unique how they offer. Their galley is the closest you can get to a buffet, but even there, you just sit down and they wait on you. So you're sort of like a rock star. Even in that way, you put the little flag up on your table, they come take your order, put the flag down, they'll bring the order to you. If you wanted to go up to the different stations, you could, but we were too like, hey, we're on vacation. We are going to let them wait on us. And the people could not be nicer. The first cruise we did, they were all Ukrainian. Now this last one we did, most of them were Asian. A little bit of a language, like the accent was a little hard to understand sometimes, but they're just so nice, and they just will wait on you hand and foot. By the end of the cruise, they're bringing your tea. They're bringing my tea because they knew I got it the other days. So they're just really nice, and they're not doing it for tips. They're getting paid ahead of time by the cruise line. They don't need to treat you so well just to get that tip. So they're always treating you.
And that's something with just company atmosphere and building a culture within your company. That Disney has this too, that
Exactly.
your guests in the park. And so
Yeah.
you get a certain level of treatment and you expect that level of treatment. And it's
Right. Yeah, Disney or Virgin is the adult Disney. That's how I look at it. Like the guest services is on par with Disney. Um, you're treated like that from the very beginning. As soon as you check in, everybody is just so nice. They'll go bend over backwards to help you if you have trouble with getting everybody on the Wi-Fi. There's a sailor services that you can go to an area where they'll just fix it all up for you. You don't have to worry about anything. You can get your dining fixed. And they save walk-in. So if you don't have a reservation, you may get lucky and just be able to walk in. I can't say enough about the food. The food is by far the best on the ocean. Like of all the cruise lines I've done, Virgin is, you cannot even compare it to anything else. It is all high-end dining, but you don't have to be stuffy and be all dressed up. You're getting these delicious meals. And if you want 2 entrees, get 2 entrees. You can do whatever you want. And all the different dining rooms, they like you to just book one. Like if you like the Wake, which is a steakhouse, you wouldn't be able to get it again unless there was an opening at the end. But there's so many other places you would be dining. We didn't do the breakfast in the dining rooms. We did the galley because it's more casual. We didn't sit down for lunch. We did only sit downs for dinner.
and there are over 20 restaurants that you can choose from. And some
Crazy.
you said about the food that some of the menus were created by Michelin starred chefs.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah. It's so
getting
good.
treated by the best. And you said no buffets, but there is access to food 24/7. So
Yeah.
you wake up in the middle of the
Yeah.
night, you want something, go for it.
Yeah, the galley, it's called Dine and Dash, this little area in the galley. And that's mostly like hamburgers and things. That's that station, but that's open all the time. So you can get anything you want there all the time. They have the Lick Me Till ice cream parlor, and the best ice cream. It is just so good. That's a very popular place. There was a line there a couple times. I was surprised, especially the first day. Everybody was, excited to be there. They wanted to get their ice cream. My favorite place on a Virgin ship is called the Social Club. And there it's like a diner with the at the counter and the little round seats, and they have hot dogs, they have popcorn, there's a candy case. You can get any of that candy that you want, cake pops, hard root beer floats, regular root beer floats. They have karaoke there. They have a game room, no quarters. It's all free. That's all included. The game room is open to everybody. Just like if you had teenagers who would want to go into a game room, it's the same games, like the old-fashioned game room, Um, there's booths, there's TVs to watch sports, there's board games, a little corner has board games. People were playing the board games. There's a shuffleboard. I can't say enough about it. It literally is what it is, a social club. And they had trivia almost every night. So people piled in for the trivia. Then they have a grog walk. So that, I saw these people lined up. I'm like, where were all these people? They were walking from bar to bar to bar.
Which there are 13 bars on board. So,
Seems like more.
and you already mentioned about the bar tab getting one thing you did not mention is on the app, the shake for champagne.
Oh yeah.
So if you
I
open the
tried
app
it.
up,
It works.
yeah, open your app up and you just shake your phone and they
Yeah.
bring champagne. So
I was up on Richard's rooftop and I'm like, I'm gonna try this. I'm like, I can't believe this works. So I shook it and it said, sure enough, the champagne thing came up on my phone. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they do have champagne all the time up at Richard's. Like that's a constant flowing thing. Another time you can get champagne for free. The sail away is unlimited bottomless champagne. Like they're walking around with big trays of flutes, plastic flute glasses with your champagne. And we were just like lining them up like, oh, more champagne. And so you really don't, well, we had like the daiquiris and things like that, but the champagne was nice for the sail away because everybody was drinking it. The dance party was going on down below at the pool. And everybody's happy. You can see Miami getting further and further away, and just leaving out of Miami is nice because you have the same kind of atmosphere in Miami. Just the whole area of Miami is a fun atmosphere too. So we always go down a day early, which is what we would always recommend to our clients, to not just don't arrive on your cruise day, plan to arrive a day early. And we can also recommend hotels that are close to some different fun areas of Miami. And easily to get to the port of Miami, it's only a small cab ride away. Or a Lyft or an Uber too.
Yeah, and definitely get there the day before, because if a flight is delayed or canceled, you don't want to miss your cruise.
Exactly. Yeah. They'll leave. I mean, you have to be, speaking of that, we had a couple pier runners. We were leaving, I think it was Cozumel. We weren't supposed to go to Cozumel. We were supposed to go to Rotan, but somebody on board got sick and we had to go back to the mainland when we were almost in Mexico. And that kind of took a whole day. So they had to come down with a helicopter and get this poor person that was sick. So they took us to Cozumel instead. And as we were leaving, they told everybody what time to be there. And sure enough, it was like 15 minutes after the leave time. And these people were walking, down the pier, and everybody's yelling, hurry up, we want to leave. Like people were like, what's going on? Like, you knew what time to be there. So that happens almost every cruise, and they will leave without you. Like they have an itinerary to keep, So, but they tell you before you go to shore, be sure you're back by this time. All ashore is, 6:30. So you're back in time, or all aboard rather.
I think I told this on the first episode of the podcast that in high school we did a boat dance on the Gateway Clipper fleet in Pittsburgh. So it's a little boat cruise.
I've done that.
The rivers, yeah. So we, boat leaves at a certain time, and we start going up the Monongahela River, and then we turn around and go back. We're like, wait, we had done the trip before. Every year we did it. We kind of knew the itinerary, or how the things were going to go. We turn around and start going back to the dock. I'm like, what's going on? And then we see one of the kids in our class on the dock kind of waving.
There's always somebody, they're having too much fun or too much to drink on the shore. And I think that was the case. But this guy, he wasn't like drunk or anything. He was just walking. He took his good old time. Even when the ship was ready to leave, he wasn't even like rushing that much. And they were the only two. Him and his wife were the only two that we were waiting for.
Before we mention a few other things, I want to go back and clearly enunciate that the ice cream place is Lick Me Till Ice Cream. So
yeah, ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always take a picture of that. It's written in like a neon sign. It's just a really pretty, colorful sign. And even the ice cream is like all the flavors that they have. It's just everything's so color coordinated. And there's a little area outside of there where you can a lot of seating. You can get your ice cream and go outside. The windows are real high, so the wind isn't real bad out there. There's a lot of outdoor seating areas, but we like to, do that when we first get there because we remembered we loved it so much from last time. And you can get it in a little dish or you can get it in a cone. And they have even red velvet cones. So that's kind of neat too. Not just the regular cake, they're the red velvet cones.
That's pretty. I told the name of the ice cream place to a friend of mine who tends to post things that are not quite safe for work and has that personality. And she loved it. She's like, okay, book me up. When's the next cruise? Book me out. I have to eat there. So
yeah, it was fun. And there's on Scarlet, they both have pizza shops, which, oh my gosh, the pizza was so good. It's like a personal pan size, but it's all homemade right in front of you as they make it. You just order, put on your little slip what you want, and then you get a buzzer and they'll tell you when it's ready. And then there's a whole pizza area there, indoor and outdoor. And the one on Virgin the one on Scarlet was called You Want a Pizza Me. And I thought it would be the same on Valiant, and it was identical, but it just called the pizza place. It was a different name. And I don't know why they changed it. I don't know if there was something, a problem with that. They didn't use it again. They didn't use that name twice, but it was, the shop itself was identical. And that was open a good bit of the time if somebody just wanted to get something for lunch. We did that for lunch a few times. It was good. It was really good pizza.
You had mentioned it before, their Scarlet Night. They also have the pajama party. So
Yeah,
then
that's late. That starts at 11. If you want to be out late, I suggest taking a little nap during the day if you had a little bit like a long day, and you want to go into the night. It starts like at 11 and everybody wears their pajamas. You know, I took them with me, but it was like 10:30 and I'm like, oh, just like if I was in the room, I said, I should never have come in here and sat down. But our friends did it and they said it was really a good time. And after that is over, oh man, there's another place called the Manor and it's a disco and it went into like 2, 3 in the morning. And there was people in there having a good time. My one friend, he went, he was the only one out of all of us, out of 5 of us that ended up going to the Manor after that party. But he said it was a really good time too. And of course, the casino.
Yep, slots, table games, and
Yeah.
if you're don't quite know how to play them, you can learn from the pros. So
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
people there to actually teach you some tips and strategy.
My son lost a couple hundred in there in the casinos. He wasn't real happy, but they of course have an ATM right there if you run out of money.
Yeah, with me, I don't call it gambling. I call it losing. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the little scratch off ticket things, they're not scratch and win. It's scratch and lose with me.
Yeah.
So
And there's a bar at the one end of the casino. The nightclub, the Manor is right off the casino. At the end there, if you keep going through the casino, is one of the shows venues. So everything's packed in real nice. And like I said, it's not big that you don't know where you are. It only takes one day or so, that first day, to kind of get acclimated to all the areas of the ship. I could go leave tomorrow. I just love it so much. I wish I was doing 2 of these a year.
you had mentioned before that there's a salon, there's a barber shop, the tattoo parlor. There are also 2 spas, Redemption and Tune Up. So if you need to relax a little bit more on your vacation or
Yeah, and they have an 80s workout. I wouldn't call it an excursion. It's like an activity. They have an 80s workout, and we saw people looking like, with the high socks and the headbands in their hair and all the bright colors and just all the 80s clothes. And they were, I said, oh, you're going to the 80s workout? And she said, yeah. And the last year I did peek in and it was like Richard Simmons. They were doing Richard Simmons' voice, about doing the workout. So, I mean, it's a fun thing too. And I think there was guys and girls doing it, as a matter of fact. They also have the salon, they're doing not facials, but they're talking about skincare. And in the salon, they weren't real pushy with the product, which is not the salon, but the spa. They weren't real pushy with the product. And I use Elemis, and that's what the product that they use, and that's what I use. So I was going to use my Sailor Loot on Elemis because it's so expensive, but I ended up not using it on that. But all of us wanted to get some kind of souvenir, so we each took like 200 and spent on souvenirs. But the Elemis is the product that they use there, and they do like thermal body products, and it's supposed to like make you feel thinner by the end of the cruise. So I was a little bit leery. I wasn't sure if that was really going to work, so I didn't do that. But it's one of the things that they offer, and you can go in the salon and make your reservation on the first day and get, like, on a C day is a good day to do the salon things, either the salon, the tattoo parlor, the spa. I mean, C days are the days you want to do that, so you can be out and about on your port days.
And you mentioned the 80s fitness class. They have cycling classes, yoga. Um, there's the big red running track. They have a couple of the workout places called B Complex. There's also the athletic club. The perch is up on top where they do the yoga. The runway is what they call the track. They have the aquatic club. And there's also near the one workout place is the Gym and Tonic, which is a bar. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they also converted the basketball court. It was like a half court. They converted that to pickleball. So I never made it up there. I'm so mad. I wanted to do that. We just never made it up there. But I really wanted to see how that worked. I wanted to see how people play in pickleball, and I just never made it. But it's become so popular that they changed their basketball court to that. And that's, that's all the things are right there that you need. You don't have to pay extra for it. You said something. What did you say? Oh, I did do the treadmill every day. Well, I did 3 out of the 6 days. My husband did it every day. And your view it's floor to ceiling ocean. So as you're on your treadmill, you're looking out at the ocean. Most gyms on cruise lines do the ocean view. So it was just nice because it just beats looking at like a TV, that you normally get on a treadmill. So that was nice. Their gyms are actually both nice. One side was the treadmills and the other side was the weights.
Yeah.
So either way, you could go to either side and do what you wanted to do. And they had like little cleaning, so you could clean off the things that you use. They had little towelettes.
that's always nice not to have someone else's sweat there.
Yeah, that's exactly why they do it.
You mentioned it earlier about Bimini, the Bimini Beach Club, which is a stop not too far off of the southern tip of Florida, kind of southeast of Florida. So you get your little excursion to end the trip and get some beach time.
Love Bimini Beach Club. Other cruise lines use it, but not while you're there. So while you're in port, you are the only cruise line at that beach club. It even says Virgin on when it looks like a permanent sign. I mean, like you feel like it's exclusive to you because that day it is yours. You can rent golf carts. We did that once. I don't recommend it. Just spend all your time at the beach club. They have a ton of cabanas. The ocean, when you look out at the ocean and the sand, all the chairs are back further. So you're not crowded with chairs in the water. You don't have to walk around all these people to get to the ocean. It's all open ocean there with the sand, and then the chairs are back further. And what's nice is they have a little path. It's sort of like a rubber mat going part way down, so you don't have to walk on the hot sand. So you can kind of just use that as and the chairs are on each side of that. So when you get to the end of that, then the sand is all open. So there's parasailing. We saw a lot. There was snorkeling. There's a lot of different things going on there. And then they have Richard's rooftop section off to the side. The floats, think of a child float, but for an adult, and they're gigantic. And there's every possible float you can imagine. There's car floats. So you sit in a car, and this is all for the pool. This is all for the pool area. You can't take these in the ocean, of course, but the pool, which is huge, absolutely huge, it's never crowded in there. And there's all these people just going by on a float on a car. There was a person with a mermaid. They had a mermaid bottom, and they were flipping their mermaid fin going by on a float. Like it's just so entertaining. And the music, they have people dancing on these higher structures, sort of like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 feet off the ground. They have these people dancing. Then there's food. There's 2 different food stations, and it's all Caribbean cuisine. My suggestion would be they need to put some hot dogs and hamburgers on that for the people that don't like. I don't like anything spicy, so it was hard for me to find something that I could eat that wasn't spicy. But they did have grilled chicken that was pretty good. But I think they need a little area of regular food. That would be my suggestion. To do that. And other people were saying that too, but then they have all the drinks there that you want. The person coming around for the bar, and then the ones like soft drinks, you just go up and get it yourself. Yeah, I love it. Love it.
So we have gone for about an hour. I think we've hit on everything I wanted to hit on. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
They do groups. If you have a group of 10 cabins that you would be filling, there's a group rate for that. So they call it a circle.
Circle, yeah.
So we can do group bookings if you have a lot of friends that want to go, we can book those, which
And
is,
that's the,
go
the
ahead.
one thing that so often that they recommend from Virgin is to tell a friend that you're going. And it goes back to my friend earlier who was like, "Oh, no one wants to go with me." Tell people, "Hey, I'm going on, not do you want to get, well, she say, okay, do you want to go on a cruise with me? Maybe see if they can, but it's like, okay, I'm doing this cruise. I am committed." And whenever you have that commitment, uh I think you mentioned before, it's the FOMO. People, I'm afraid I don't want to
Yeah,
miss out on your fun. Oh, you're going too? It's,
right.
oh, we'll try and do it, but it's a kind of a just, oh, maybe type thing. But whenever someone is committed to doing it, then other people are like, I don't want to miss out with you.
Yeah,
Okay. And one that can help to either lower your cost of your state of your cabin
yeah,
if they're going to come with you, or you can just get in more people with you. And if you can get the 10 cabins, so if you have a big family that's going, or extended group of friends, you're doing it for a reunion or whatever,
yeah.
there
There's
are some
usually some perks, there's some perks along with that. So
there's
it's,
like a cocktail hour that you get.
yeah, yeah. That was another thing on the Mega Rockstar, that they have a separate section for cocktail when you first board, but you can do the circle. I don't think you all have to have the same type of staterooms, so people can, it's just 10 staterooms in a circle, but that I don't mean physical circle. I mean, they can be anywhere on the ship. That's just what they call it. So we can do that. The promotions, there is always some type of promotion going on. So if one expires, there'll be another one coming out. They're huge on promotions. Um, like we took advantage of the 80% off the next voyage. So if I do book Barcelona, the second person in my room will get that 80%. So really, look into the pricing, put down a deposit, and try to get your friends to go, because that's how, like last year we had 7, this year we had 5 people. So the people from last year wanted to go again this year. They can't go next year because their daughter's having a baby, but we'll probably be going again. We'll probably be going with them after this next year cruise. I want to go there. I have to do it at least once a year. I just have to do it. So I like cruising, but it's just one of the things that everybody has fun together. You're together more. Where when you're at Disney, which is fun, there's just so much people spread out more. Where on a cruise ship, you're a little more contained.
Mhm. And once a month, Virgin holds an information session in the evening. That's a Zoom call. That if you join that, and I post about it each month whenever they're about to come up. That so if you check my social media, you'll see when you can join the next one. If you join that and then you book by the end of that month, you can get some other extra perks. Usually, it's with the bar tab or some extra sailor loot or something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Yeah, I think the bar tab, it used to be 300, is now 150. But I mean, a lot of them are just 2 people in the room, so that's a lot of money for 150. Um, and you're not overdoing with the drinks, and maybe, a couple drinks a night. You might even have some left over. Now, if it is left over, you can't cash that in. You lose whatever you don't use. So you definitely want to use up as much as you can. Same with the sailor loot. You lose what you don't use. So we made sure that we used up every single thing. Like I was like shopping around. Okay, got 100 more. So I was like, okay, like, I was just adding in my head how much I had left. And we all got nice souvenirs out of that. We didn't have to pay. It was all included. It wasn't included. It was for $600. That's a lot. And that's what we're getting on the next one too, because we rebooked.
It can also make you look good. Oh, here I bought. Let's just buy 2 of these purses. Here, I can give one to so
Yeah.
and so, and I
Well,
brought you.
the one purse I liked was 3250, 3,250. So I did not get that. I did get the sunglasses, but they were not even close, not even, like barely $100. And you know what? I was very surprised. They actually negotiated a price with me on the sunglasses. I didn't even ask. I said, "Oh, how much are these?" And he was like $105. And but for you, 95. I said, "Oh, okay." Because they're already marked up so high. But they were designer glasses, but I just really liked them. So I like the shopping, and the shops are only open while you're at sea. They're not open in port. So that's when you want to, know that on the sea days and to and from ports, you can do your shopping. And I think that's all I had to cover that I wanted to talk about as far as Virgin goes. I think that was everything.
Okay, then we'll move on to the travel tip at the end. So I mentioned earlier value versus price of, there's many places where you can get a lower price, but the old saying is you often get what you're paying for.
Right.
So,
Gosh.
there are some airlines out there that has a, really inexpensive price to get on the flight, but then there's extra for baggage, extra if you want to get food, extra if you want to, actually breathe the oxygen while you're on the flight. And I've done that before, and I really did not like the experience. It seemed like everyone was just watching. Wait, was that our water you have there? Did you bring that with you? Did you pay for that? Did you? And everything, it's like, someone always looking over your shoulder. There are some other airlines that bags are free or this, that it's a little bit more to begin with, but the overall experience is nicer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that
totally agree with that.
now everyone has their budget, and if it's out of your budget, then it's out of your budget. But be careful with what you're paying for, and if you can pay a little bit extra, and you can afford that a little bit more to get a better experience, that, as my dad calls it, it's an investment in happiness.
Right. And memories, exactly. I couldn't agree more with that, because you're going to get a lower price with Carnival. Like, you're going to get that. But if that's in your budget, then do that. You don't want to overdo it. But if you can possibly swing it, even if it's the following year and make payments, that's what I would put it off and have the experience to look forward to, than go a little cheaper and go sooner.
And now the flip side of that is, if you're going to pay for more, make sure you're actually going to use all of that stuff. Okay, I'm going on this cruise because I want to hit these ports. I don't care what I'm doing on the ship. It's a place I'm going to sleep. I will eat my good food in port. Like, I'm going to Italy. That's what I will enjoy. Then not paying for great food on the ship, then that's understandable. So it's putting the value where you want to get your value out of it.
Right. Exactly. Like Royal, you're going to have to bring extra money because you're going to have to pay for a lot of that dining. With Virgin, you don't have that. Can you make her stop that, please? With Virgin, you don't have that. You're dining, even the high end, it's all included. So you don't have to have that extra money. You're not going to have that big bill on your credit card at the end of the cruise where you have a balance. Like I said, mine was $33, because we only went over, like, on the last night, I think, for a couple drinks. So that's why I like it. The value is there. Your value is prepaid. It's not something that you're going to be hitting every day, more money, having to pay for a dinner every night. I just think that's ridiculous. But, that's because I love Virgin. But my cruise tip, or my tip in general, I have two of them. Although now Virgin doesn't require a passport, I still recommend having your passport on you at all times. Show them when you check in, keep it with you, either in your safe or always, in your room in a safe place. If for some reason you would, even when you go into port, you might want to carry it with you, whatever, but you would need, if you need to fly home for any reason, you need that passport. You cannot fly home without it. So if you get sick in one of the ports, or you get sick you have to have a passport to get back into the United States. So even though it's a closed-end cruise, which is the port you're leaving out, you're coming back into, you want to be sure to have a passport. A birth certificate would not be enough to come back. So even though they don't require it anymore, they used to be the only cruise line that required it, no matter what. But I would still say always cruise with a passport, always go in a day early. And my last tip would be to use packing cubes. They're really valuable because you're in a close, a smaller space area. And like, I just stacked my packing cubes up. My husband used the shelving and the drawers for his. My son just lived out of a suitcase. But I had a packing cube for my shorts and a packing cube for my shirts. I hung up all my nicer things because there's a ton of hangers. and there's a lot of space where you could hang everything. But I used the packing cubes. It was kind of like my drawer system. Make her stop, please.
Those are dogs that she's
I'm
making.
sorry. Yeah, my
Okay.
dogs.
And actually, I can't hear them. So
My neighbor is on my porch with a blower. I'm not sure why, but anyways, that's my tip.
and actually, Justin, one of the other travel agents with Dreams by Design Travel, he had the same tip a couple episodes ago with the packing cubes.
Yeah.
And to add on with your passport, not only if you have to fly back into the United States, but you take your passport always when you travel as a second form of identification.
Yeah.
I was going through the airport in Chicago one time, and after I did the security check, I put my ID in my pocket, and then we had to go through whenever I showed him my plane ticket. Then when we went to go through the scanner and everything, it got set down in one of the bins or whatever, and it got lost. It eventually got found later on. It got returned to me, but going through the X-ray machine, somehow it fell out and was on the floor, and
Yeah.
I could not go. In order to go look, I would have had to go back through security,
Oh.
and so it was like, all right, leave it, and went home and stopped at the DMV on the way home and got a new one.
Yeah.
But having that other ID in case there is another leg, or if that would
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. And I had a similar experience. We went to visit my son up at the San Juan Islands, up in the northwest part of the country there, right off the coast of Seattle. And sure enough, I had just got a new driver's license, and we were eating out on an upper deck. It was very windy. And I said, "Oh, look at my new license." And it fell out of my hand, and it flipped, and it went down through the floorboards, my teeny tiny little crack. It literally went straight down, and I knew I had to fly home, and I had no ID. I go, "Wait a minute, my passport." And I was not leaving the country, but I took that passport just as a second form, and that is how I was able to fly home. So you just can't ever be too careful with transportation and identification. It's the two things you want to be sure that you have. Two forms. That's the best. I had no license. I had my old one, but I didn't think that accepted because it expired.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's my tip.
Great tip as they are too. And Donna, thank you very, very much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just love talking about it. I can't recommend it highly enough. And anytime you want to have me on to talk about anything like this, I'll be glad to do it again. We're big fans of cruising in general. Maybe my next one, hopefully I'd like to go on the Disney Treasure one of these times. So when it comes out, I would like to think about doing that one, but I will definitely be doing Virgin every year as well. Yeah, it's just don't be afraid to cruise. Like, there's different things you can do if you're worried about getting seasick. Bring some medication. There's a medical center on board. You can get some medication there. So there's always someone to take care of you if you don't feel well. But I haven't had any problem, but I know some people are a little bit leery about it, but there's always a way to make you feel better. So don't hesitate.
And for the most part, the ships nowadays are large enough that you're not going to feel the rocking of it.
That's right. They have the
stabilizers.
Yeah, I was thinking of positioners. I'm like, no, that's not right. So they have the stabilizers, and that really does help. You don't even know. If you don't look out and see, you can't even tell you're moving. We did have a couple nights that were a little rocky, but I still didn't feel the ship. Like, I still didn't have any trouble. Like, it wasn't moving. Nothing was. The one night when we had to go back for that passenger, we were moving very fast. And it was a little bit, you could hear you could just hear the ship was moving. You could see how fast we were going. But even then, none of us got sick. Like, it wasn't bad at all.
Very good. And you can find out more about us at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. Donna, do you have any specific social media or email or anything that you want to?
Yes, share? On Facebook, we have the main page, dreamsbydesigntravel.com. We have quote information, email info at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. My personal one is Donna at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. I have other socials, but the most active one is the Facebook page.
And I'll put all that in the show description as well, so people can have access to that. For me, I'm at Matt with DBD on Facebook, X, and Instagram. My email is matt, M-A-T-T, at dreamsbydesigntravel.com. Donna, once again, thank you very, very much for
Thanks,
joining
Matt.
me.
I appreciate being asked to do this. Anytime you want me on to do any other type of vacation talk, I'd love to do it. So just let me know. I really enjoyed talking about Virgin. It's so fresh in my mind because it was only a couple weeks ago. So the sooner I can talk about it, maybe people will consider it for their cruise.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend about us.
Yeah.
And if you're wherever you're heading, let us know and we can help you out in that. So
Yeah, help you out in that.
for today, we're heading out. So we'll see you later in that. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.